Welcome to the Lion's Den podcast series. Our name is inspired by the biblical story of Daniel in the lion's den, where Daniel's faith in God saved him from the lions, reflecting our goal of navigating life's challenges with faith in God. Daniel's journey, a story of trust and perseverance, holds a special place in my heart. As Daniel Scrivener, son of New Hope Olympia's founding pastor, Del Scrivener, I feel a deep personal connection to this story, and I'm excited to share its lessons with you. In our podcast, which blends personal reflections, guest interviews, and biblical teachings, we'll tackle everyday issues that can overwhelm us without God's help. Thank you for joining us. Your support means a lot, and we hope our episodes bless you.
Well, hello again, friends. This is New Hope on the Go, the Lion's Den podcast. I am your host, Daniel, son of Del Scrivener, pastor of New Hope Christian Fellowship. And this podcast is for December 11th, Wednesday, 2024. I hope that your day is going well, and I hope that this podcast is a blessing to you. Just a reminder that every Wednesday this podcast comes out, and that we endeavor to put them out every Wednesday. At the end of the show, you'll have an opportunity to send an email to request prayer. If you are in need of prayer for yourself, a family member, or a friend, you can drop a line, and we do pray over every prayer request that comes in. We don't necessarily have time to respond to every email, but we do pray for every prayer request that comes in. Well, in this continuing podcast, this Lion's Den podcast, we focus on the proverbial lions. Of course, my name is Daniel, and I was named after Daniel in the Bible, the prophet Daniel. And of course, you know the story, or you might know the story of Daniel in the lion's den. And these lions represent the strife that we go through in life, the problems that we go through, challenges, tribulations, and the like, as we try to navigate life. And all of us, no matter what our wealth is, what our status is, economic status, whatever we've gone through, no matter where you're at, how the size of your family, whether it's just you and a cat, it does not matter. We all deal with something. We are all struggling with a hurt, habit, or a hang-up, or we are all, or in addition to that, we are coming out of a storm, have just come from a storm, or we are about to enter one. And that just seems to be part of life, isn't it? And so this program was put together after much thought and deliberation and prayer and all of that. And we decided that part of New Hope Christian Fellowship on our YouTube channel, New Hope Olympia, ought to have a weekly podcast that in 20 to 30 minutes gives hope and deals with real life, everyday issues we all struggle and face. And sometimes we'll have interviews, sometimes we'll have reflections, sometimes it'll be a mix of this and that. Today, because it's December 11th, I thought I would focus on a theme for Christmas over the next 3 weeks, and that is faith, hope, and love. And so today is going to be on faith, and I'm going to share a message I sent a few friends back in 2023 when the pandemic started. I was involved with a few different friends that we were texting each other, even prior to the pandemic actually, texting each other prayer requests, encouraging words and scripture. And when the pandemic hit, it became much more dedicated, and I looked back and passage of time, and I just thought that there's some things that others would benefit from hearing. I won't share what was sent to me, but I did find a few things that I would like to share. And this deals with cancer and my father going through it. Of course, my daughter was 14 months old at the time and dealt with Wilms tumor, kidney cancer, and that is a story as well. I might share some of that. But if you are in need of a miracle, isn't Christmas about miracles? If you are in need of a miracle this season, maybe something's going on in your life. Maybe, again, the divorce, the strife, the bankruptcies, all sorts of things happen, disease. And we all deal with something or know of someone that is dealing with something. And maybe we're a friend that has been praying with someone who's going through something and reaching out to them, and we are looking for hope as well. So the theme, again, for the next few weeks is going to be faith, hope, and love. And this is on faith. And this is a message I sent to a few dear friends of mine back on July 1st, 2023, that deals with cancer my father was going through. Take a listen. I hate watching my father go through this. Just a year ago, he was strong, busy gardening, and putting out new floral arrangements for our backyard. First, COVID came to all of us. Then it closed the church building. 2 weeks, they said, to stop the spread. Then friends departed. Then COVID hit our home. My daughter got it. She was vaccinated. By the end of the week, she had rebounded. Later, it hit my father. He was not vaccinated. You know, truth be told, I don't know if being vaccinated or not made a difference. But he almost died. After COVID, he never got his energy back. He was always exhausted. Then he was told he had diabetes. Then he had to close the church for good because it had reopened for a time. Now he has cancer. Stupid cancer. I saw what it did to my little girl. And now I'm watching my father manage this on top of it all. And the friends that departed, they're still gone. There is something so hurtful about rejection. Whether it is real or imagined, it strikes harder sometimes than disease. Why is that? Because we were made for fellowship, for friendship, for encouragement. There are the good time, quote unquote, friends, the ones that drink with you and celebrate with you when you're at your best, when you are a, quote, success. The ones that write get well soon cards and pop in for the occasional text or call, or even once in a while a visit. The ones that hope whatever season you are in is just a moment of time. It's temporary, they think. They might even tell you, you'll get through this. You've got this. But as time drags on and seasons change, but the health or other hardship remains the same, the calls and texts and visits fade until there is only the silence. The silence is the loudest part of it all. Why is that? Because that's when our brain ponders and negotiates with our circumstance. We tell ourselves, perhaps when this happens, or what if? We negotiate our way out, at least in our head. We even ask ourselves, will they accept me then? If I get healthy? If I'm changed? If God shows up and shows me the way? We barter on the what ifs, the miracle, the provision, the providence that might make them stay or come back into our fray. Why? Because, friends, the greatest hurt one can face is not broken body, mind, or state. It is the absence of love from those who once were close, at least in our head. My father, preacher, speaker, counselor, gardener, sick bed visitor, friend to their grave. Countless years serving all God sent in his name. Now he's tired, sick, lonely, and spent. And the greatest hurt I see and hear is not the pain or the ache or the fatigue that's always so near. No, it's the sadness, the loneliness, the heartache that I hear. Because of countless friends who forgot, who left, who rejected. That hurt is the greatest of all. It lingers, it's loud, it echoes in our ears. This self-talk that tells us to fear. And where does this come from, this fear? The enemy. The enemy delights in his effort to steal, kill and destroy and leave us in tears. But I watched, I listened, and I remember. Yes, this prodigal son who has had his own ordeal, a life of disease, hardship, and rejection, I remember what my father shared. No, there is hope. This is not the end. It's not over yet. Because there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. He provides, he loves, he heals, and he never, ever leaves. And when this chapter is written, when the author of life has declared the last sentence, may his promises come to fruition. As Job, the oldest book in his holy word, says, I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth. Well, in our meantime, if you have a loved one or a friend who needs some hope or needs a hand, be there. And remember that we are his hands and feet. Because the best medicine, my friend, is a faithful friend. Prayers for my father, a man I am so proud of and grateful for. And that is from July 1st, 2023. I wrote that watching my father go through his cancer treatment, his chemotherapy, his radiation that was causing him to decline, and then watching him seemingly go through what he felt was a rejection. And at times, sometimes people come and go for different reasons. Sometimes people get distracted, and we can imagine in our heads a rejection that maybe is not real, but seems to be real. And when someone is going through a chronic condition, or even something that springs up suddenly and is perhaps difficult for others to manage or accept or deal with, sometimes people come and go in those circumstances as well. Since this was written, my father has also, as you know, gone through several other health crises. One of them was June 6th of this year. He collapsed in our kitchen, and we were told he had a broken back initially, and then that was not the case, but he did have to rehab over at Panorama City. That was a month-long process, and when he came home, he started getting around again, but then got pneumonia. And then, not so long after that, he had COVID once again. My father has dealt with one thing after another. Speaking of the topic of faith, how do we maintain our faith in a crisis that we're dealing with? Now, several years ago, I don't know why I have December, maybe because it's December. That might be a good reason. But in 2011, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis myself and had woke up cross-eyed and had dealt with some physical symptoms that were strange to me. And I have dealt all these years later with a chronic condition in MS in which there is no cure. And I've even thought at various times talking about or maybe writing out topics along the subject of faith through my ordeal, faith through MS. My wife's and my daughter having gone through cancer, and how that affects everyone, the whole family. Wilm's tumor. She had a tumor sticking out of her stomach, and in 2017 we went through that ordeal with Seattle Children's Hospital, and an 8-hour surgery that was thrust upon us a week before. We had no idea, and now suddenly we're living up there for this period of time, going through radiation and surgery and chemotherapy, and with a baby. And you ask all the why questions in those moments. You know, God is so good, fill in the blank. We've all asked questions like that. And but when you're watching someone that you truly love, there's just a little baby go through it, man, those questions just seem to hit you harder, and it does stretch your faith. And there are times, I can be honest, where I wondered what happened to him, or if I had faith still. because we're just very human, and the things that we struggle with and the things that we deal with, and we see loss and we see suffering right in front of us. Speaking on that topic, when we were at Seattle Children's and my daughter was in treatment, my wife and I were staying up there, we would hear these announcements, and you knew immediately what it was when it came over the intercom, and it was code blue. And they would say code blue and the room number, the floor and the room number, and you just knew, because it's a children's hospital, you knew what was taking place, that a child was fighting for their life. And on a code blue, the nurses rush in, they perform CPR, they try to revive this child, and you hear that when you're staying up there, you hear that several times, in a night or in a week, and it just, we got into the habit, I know we did, myself did, my wife did, I know, got into the habit when we would hear that, it's just immediately praying for whatever that mom was going through, whatever that child was going through, whatever that father was going through. And it's heart-wrenching. Getting to know people, become friends with them, and know their children's names, and get to know them, and have coffee with them and converse with them and talk about all the ups and downs of life outside of cancer, and then to hear that suddenly, or even if you knew it was coming, that to watch them go through that, and to go through that as well as their friend, their child, not make it. This life, friends, is hard. And, I remember before my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, there's days, Sundays, Sundays football, commercials would come on about the St. Jude's Alliance or some sort of childhood cancer commercial, and I feel bad about it now, but I would turn the channel. I just did not want to hear it. And then to live it, to go through it, and to watch your child throw up repeatedly, to watch your child lose their hair, to watch friends that you meet up there lose their children, to go through all of that. And then on top of it all, my wife having cardiac arrest up there while my daughter is in treatment, all of this gets at the core of what do I believe and why? And how does this impact my faith? And then let me just be honest, sometimes I feel like we don't have any. You ask all the why questions, you feel far from God, you feel like God is far from you. And again, these are feelings that we all deal with. It's just part of the natural human condition, and it's normal. And we go through these ups and downs, and I remember looking at my wife unconscious and 8 doctors in the room and being told she's critical. And I remember sort of pleading with them, saying, pointing to each of them, that she's the mother of 5 children. She's the love of my life. And I'm counting on each and every one of your brains as I point to them to fix this. And I'll just never forget the look as it's out of our hands. Sort of good luck. And in those moments, I remember crying out to God one-on-one with him. I remember doing communion with my wife, praying over her and praying things like, Lord, if you, all the prayers that we pray, if you, then I, those if you, then I statements that we make. These sort of negotiating with God, and I think that we all do on some level. And we do that when we're young, if we do that when we're going through, just the part of growth of being human, raising families, going to college, trying to make ends meet, managing bills, and these crisis points that we hit stretch our faith. And again, there's points where sometimes you feel like you don't have any. And you just feel like the wind gets just sucked out of you, watching your prayers hit the ceiling. At least that's how it feels in those moments sometimes. But then on a panoramic level, taking a step back and looking as I'm reading over this letter, this text I sent my my friends about my dad back in 2023. And my dad tonight is conversing at the dinner table. He's on the mend. He's still with us. He's still here. And in those moments, you feel like your whole world is caving in on you. And then looking back over time from sort of a panoramic view, you can see, I can see when God was in this room here, or in this point here, or saving my wife here. You can see the footprints and the handprints of God in different places. In the Bible, Esther is a book in the Bible that does not mention God. God is not mentioned, but you see his handiwork. You see him moving behind the scenes. And often in our walk, in our faith, looking back over our lives, we can see different points in time that God was there. Maybe you are looking for a Christmas miracle and praying for a Christmas miracle. Is it a loved one? Is it someone that is struggling with a disease, a diagnosis? Is it a layoff? Is it a relationship that feels broken? Is it a sudden move you didn't see coming? And you are in need of a place, and maybe it's a combination of different things. And maybe it's you, and you're listening to this right now, and you feel alone, and you feel cut off, and you feel like my father did, rejected. And it doesn't matter if that rejection is real or imagined. The feeling behind it is real enough. And we all need a friend. We all need someone to walk this life with, and to pray with, and to cry with. And sometimes if you're alone and you're struggling, it's just those feelings, those emotions, those voices, if you will, feel louder and louder and louder. And that is when we need to stop, and we need to call out. We need to call out to our Creator. There's a verse I really just want to share, and I hope that you'll look it up this week, that you'll meditate on it this week, that you'll share it with a friend, that you'll think on it, and that you'll really reflect on it. And that is this, and it's Psalm 34, verse 8. And here's what it says. It says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste and see that the Lord is good. You think about Thanksgiving, you think about Christmas, you think about families getting together, trying different desserts, trying different meals. You go to work and you have functions at work where everyone brings, a platter of some kind, a potluck, and people are trying different things. And here, taste this, try this. I just made this. Oh, it's really good. And we believe what our friends or coworkers, or sometimes even strangers, tell us. We'll believe a stranger when they say at work, hey, you should try this. This is really good. Or maybe a casual friend, you should try this. This pie, this food, etc. is really good. But this verse is saying, God is inviting us to taste and see. God is saying, try me in this. Stop searching for the answer in a bottle. Stop searching for the answer in a pill. Stop searching for the answer in your quote-unquote a soulmate. Stop going from person to person to person to find that source. Stop looking in all of these different areas. God is saying, try me. Taste and see that the Lord is good. And it says, blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. It says we're blessed when we say, nothing else works, I'm taking refuge in you. And faith, what is faith? Faith is just simply saying, I can't count on myself here. I can't count on anyone else here. I am calling out. I can't see you, God. I just believe you're real. It's just, I have no faith in me, but I have faith in you. It's just believing God when he says that he is God. Taste and see. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. This Christmas season, as we deal with whatever we are looking for a Christmas miracle. Maybe you are a business owner and you're looking for a way to expand your business. Maybe you're looking for a way for people to notice your business, and you've poured so much into this and have worked so hard to get seen. And it's getting in front of the right person or the right crowd, that right moment. And maybe you could apply that to other areas of your life. What is that Christmas miracle that you're looking for? For me, my wife was unconscious. For me, my daughter had cancer. For me, my father had a broken back and then was in Panorama City. And I could count on many different occasions where it looked to me in my world like the end of the world. But my faith was not in me. My faith was not in someone else. My faith, small as it was, the smallest of seeds, was in the one who made me. And that is what faith is about. It's not how large it is. It's who is it in. So I pray that your faith gets renewed today as you believe, hope, pray, and have faith for your Christmas miracle. Well, folks, that wraps up our time today on the Lion's Den podcast. Be sure to tune in next week, the 18th of December, Wednesday. We'll come out with a new podcast, the theme of which will be hope. Again, this is faith, hope, and love, culminating in hope and love, on Christmas Day, the 25th of December. Faith, hope, and love is the theme. Once again, if you need prayer for anything, if you need prayer for a loved one, prayer for yourself, you can drop us a line at newhopeonthego@gmail.com. And we also accept suggestions. If you are interested in perhaps doing an interview, you have a story to share, we'd like to hear it. Go ahead and drop us a line. Until next time, I pray you have a blessed week, and I pray blessings over your family. God bless you.
New Hope Olympia podcasts, including the In the Lion's Den series, are available on all major platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Buzzsprout. This allows you to tune in anytime. Our goal is to strengthen our spiritual connection with listeners by offering a variety of topics. With over 100 million monthly listeners, podcasts provide convenient access to knowledge on subjects from science to spirituality. Join us on this journey and discover content that interests you. To view the complete collection of media offerings from New Hope Olympia, please visit our YouTube channel at New Hope Olympia. Should you have any questions, comments, or requests regarding New Hope on the Go podcasts, please email us at newhopeonthego@gmail.com.